guys, welcome back to the Heart of Home. I recently did a poll online and asked just for some input on different interests because it is my goal to do a 4-part or a 4-week series here in the month of January, not July, over something that people want to know more about. And so I never claim to know everything. In fact, there's a lot that I don't know, but what I do know is that by sharing authentically and sharing genuinely the things that we do in our home, whether it's, stuff we've swapped in our pantry, food that we cook on a regular basis, different routines and homemaking skills, you could say, that we engage or we use. What I know is that by sharing those, I'm creating an authentic community and I'm creating space for others to come that feel less than what the internet portrays as perfect. And so by doing that, it's just my hope that in these next 4 weeks of sharing these videos with you guys, that you also feel motivated, you feel encouraged, or maybe you feel a sense of creativity welling back up within you. And what better way to start an authentic video off than watching that first clip back that you just watched and seeing I have a wet spot on my shirt. And I don't know if it's from the dog, from my 5-year-old child, or from my tea. I have no idea. But this is the reality, is we get stuff on our shirt, and I'm not gonna delete that video because that just wouldn't be real. It wouldn't be authentic. And so I'm keeping it. Have to excuse me while I enjoy a slice of fresh sourdough. I need a napkin. If you were not one of the people who voted on the poll that I put up on Instagram, if I do any sort of polls, I always put them up on Instagram, but I took a poll. I said, I want to do a 4-week series of something that interests you, the people reading the poll, the people following along. Basically, I had 4 options, and I'm probably not going to be able to recall them like I had them up there, but the first one was learning suburban homestead skills, like stuff you can do right now without having property, kind of like we are. The next one was just homemaking routines. The third one was, I think, ingredients we've swapped in the pantry for good. And then the fourth one was 4 different go-to meals that our family does and enjoys, considering being made from scratch. There is nothing better than fresh sourdough. You can't beat it. I had a lot of people voting. I think there were votes for every single one of those categories except the suburban homestead skills, which I thought was interesting because of all of the options, I feel like that one is the most important because out of those skills is birthed, food from scratch, food preservations, learning how to prioritize different areas of your home and whatnot. That doesn't matter. What matters is that the majority of the people wanted to hear about homemaking routines. Now, again, I preface this with the fact that I don't have it figured out. I certainly do things that will work for us and will not work for you, and that's okay. And this isn't something that I just woke up one morning and thought, I'm gonna live like this. No, it's been a slowly developing thing, just like any sort of homesteader would tell you. Everybody always starts with chickens and then gets goats, and then they have a gazillion chickens because of chicken math, and then before you know it, they have a family milk cow, and now they are selling, the cycle just revolves, right? Like you don't just wake up one morning and decide, I'm gonna fill in the blank. So, but as I got to contemplating what to share with you and what are the 4 most important things, I kept coming back to atmosphere setting. And if you know me personally, you know that this is a big thing for me. I love to host people. I love to host Bible studies, songwriting nights, which is exactly why you see a piano over there, because we just had one of those a couple nights ago. We host holiday meals here. I mean, in college, we would host engagement parties, other people's Bible studies, birthday parties, movie nights. Like we'd have a townhome and people would come and just literally use our house, our little townhome, as a vessel to host something. And so that spoke to my soul. But in this first week of sharing homemaking skills, I want to talk specifically about creating an atmosphere, because none of these skills really matter if you don't have a why as to why you're doing them. And for me, it's creating an environment that my family, who's the top of my priority, they're zone zero, right? Like this is the people that are here every day, that my family can benefit from, right? And so we'll dive deeper into very specific things like the laundry routines or the morning routines or the kitchen routines. We'll dive deeper into that. If there's something specific you want to hear in the next 3 weeks, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'm going to go with what I feel like I need to be sharing. But I absolutely want to share what you guys want to hear. So that is a priority to me. But as far as creating an atmosphere, we have 5 senses, right? We have sight, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. And in the most natural way, a good atmosphere, a successful atmosphere engages all 5 of those senses. And you probably don't think about it that often. You're probably not that critical about your home or about, the environment you're in. But anybody who's a party planner or like a wedding planner, they know that creating an atmosphere, right? Setting the atmosphere is important because you want to make people feel a certain way and they want to return to it, right? Because if you don't like something, you don't want to return. If it made you feel icky or feel bad or feel insecure, like you don't want that, right? And so we want to aim to achieve the other, which in our home specifically, so we're talking about the family dynamics. We're not talking about hosting a party or any, holiday, whatever. We're talking about the home. And for us, that is me, my husband, and my son, and then my dogs, which they're dogs. But for us 3, and then we regularly have family and friends here. Like I just had a friend here this morning. Hey, Liz. And so that is kind of the focus I'm going to be taking as far as perspective goes for what I'm about to share with you. I gotta make myself some more tea. We're about to get serious. No, we're not. I'm totally kidding. This is not that serious, but I do like my tea. I have been drinking. This is Red Wren from our local tea seller, which they are no longer open now, which is very unfortunate. But I decided, oh great, my tea kettle's about to get loud. I decided that I wanted to recreate this tea, which she includes all of the ingredients on here. And so I know it wouldn't be an exact replica, but it will be close enough. We're actually going to step outside while my tea kettle screams at me. It is supposed to be 45 degrees today, which is very exciting because I'm going to get into the beehives and make sure they have enough food left. Sweet boy. That'll do. Okay. So back to atmosphere setting. Now, it's funny because as a young girl, and some of you might be able to relate to this, but as a young girl, I always loved to create the atmosphere. And I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but I knew I wanted to create like an experience that made my friends feel good. And that's really the best way to describe it, because I didn't know what I was doing back then. I didn't know that I was trying to encourage and create an experience for someone. But I have been this way ever since a young girl. And I do believe that there's something in me that the Lord will use in regards to hosting and creating an atmosphere for people. And so it's not just that this is my personality. Yes, part of it is. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of you watching this who this comes natural to, and plenty of you who watch this that aren't naturally inclined to be hosters. And that is okay. That is okay, because all of our homes look different. All of our families look different. We have different needs. We have different goals, different desires, different, you name it. And that's okay. And so please do not compare your situation or yourself or your family to my situation, myself, or my family, because we are different, and that is okay. Again, this is just to encourage you and to hopefully spark some creativity in you to make some changes for your home that possibly benefit you and your family. When we purchased this home, I was very careful about how I design things, the colors I used, the kitchen, the way it was set up, where the rooms were going to be, what the bathroom was going to feel like, you know, what soaps and whatnot. That's a different video, but different, you know, soaps, organics, whatever you want to call it, that you keep in the house, or that maybe you do not. And again, that is to each their own. You decide what you do and do not use. But I was very careful about how I wanted to do this, because I knew this was my moment. This was my opportunity to create an atmosphere of a home that wasn't previously bought, if that makes sense. We didn't buy the home in a good condition, so we had to live in it in the condition that it was. You know, we bought a home where we literally repainted everything. We took down walls. We redid the entire kitchen. We gutted everything, new doors, doorknobs, everything, flooring, everything. The biggest question I ask myself when creating an atmosphere is, how does this make somebody feel? How does it make them feel? Because of our 5 senses, which feeling, the way someone feels, I mean, that's an accumulation of all 5 senses into one, really. But the most important thing that someone can leave with is how they felt. And as humans, we feel before we think, typically, right? And so how does this make my family feel? Well, for me, I know we do our best to keep spaces from becoming too cluttered, right? Because clutter is equivalent to like chaos and confusion. And internally, it can make somebody feel chaotic or feel confused or out of place or messy, right? And so I do my best to keep a tidy home. Now, my home is nowhere near perfect. I'm not a minimalist. If anything, I'm probably closer to a maximalist. I really love to maximize all my spaces, and in doing so, creating a feeling. It's kind of like, have you ever gone into like a coffee shop, for example, and you notice that like their shelves are packed full, like there's things everywhere on the wall, but yet you still want to go back? And maybe it's a fishing or a tackle shop for you, if it's a man or somebody watching who doesn't go to coffee shops. Maybe that's what it is for you. Or even the mall. Like the atmosphere around us influences the atmosphere within us. And that's important. That's important. And out of creating an atmosphere are different routines, which we're going to talk about, different homemaking routines, things like making the bed every morning, closing out the kitchen every night, just rinsing the dishes instead of letting them sit with food scraps on them in the sink. Just rinse them off. They don't have to be clean, right? It's putting away the coffee grounds, just sweeping them onto the floor if you have to, and let the Roomba do the work later, or let the dog do the work. Honestly, this is terrible, y'all. We're gonna get real authentic here. Whenever there's like crumbs or like scraps on our counter, I just, Kion. We're here, dog. And he cleans it up, and it's terrible, but yeah. So as far as these next 4-ish weeks goes, I really wanna make sure that I share stuff with you guys that are like resources or tools that you can stick in your pocket as a stay-at-home mom, as a stay-at-home wife. Maybe you're just staying at home working, whatever your title is. Homemaking is so important. It's so important, and there isn't just one way to do it. There really isn't. And so in sharing the ways that we do this, I hope that you were encouraged. As far as tangible things go, in this video, talking about just creating the atmosphere, you have to ask yourself, if you step into a room in your house, how does this room make me feel? And maybe you don't have an answer for that. Maybe you have to invite a friend that you can trust to come over into your environment and ask them, how does this room make you feel? Without, being offended by how they might answer, how does this room make me feel? And this is something that even right now, guys, watching this video, when you're done, go into each room in your house and just ask yourself, make a list, run a list on your phone or on a notepad and say, how does this room make me feel? It either makes you feel overwhelmed. So maybe there's some work to do there. Maybe you need to declutter. Maybe you just need to change the paint color on the walls. Maybe it makes you feel calm and tired. Maybe it makes you feel at peace and clear-minded. Maybe it leaves you encouraged and motivated to go do something. Maybe it's like a craft room where you can be creative. Maybe it's your child's room that makes you feel overwhelmed. Well, if you're feeling overwhelmed, there's a good chance they are too. And so it might be a good opportunity to declutter, rotate some toys, hide them in the laundry room for a few months before you throw them away, just in case they remember them. maybe there's some steps that you can take, right? And we can figure out what those steps are simply by asking yourself, how does this room make me feel? How does the atmosphere make me feel? And with that, it might be a scent. Maybe it's the smell. Maybe you need to swap out a candle. Maybe you need to get some new essential oils. Maybe you need to get rid of the air diffuser thing that you plug into the outlet because it's not good for you. Maybe you just need to open up the windows. Maybe you need new curtains. Maybe you need to get rid of your blinds and let the natural light come in. Maybe you just need to wipe down the walls. Maybe you need less stuff on the walls. Maybe you need more, right? And so there are so many different ways to answer that question, but the most important thing is that you are able to answer that question, that you can boldly step into a room, even knowing that the answer is not going to be what you want to hear, and say, how does this make me feel? Because I have some of those rooms, especially our laundry room. I step into that room and I'm like, ugh. I wish this was more organized. I wish the wallpaper we put up was actually sticking to the wall, and it's not. I wish the ground was easy to clean, and it's not. I wish it wasn't as cluttered, right? And it is. And so there are rooms in everybody's house where you walk in and ask yourself, how does this make me feel? And the answers are not good. And I want you to know that there's grace. There's lots of grace. Have grace for yourself, right? You can't do everything all at once. And frankly, some things just have to drop before others, right? You can only carry so many things. If anybody's living in a house that doesn't have a room, that makes them answer that question in a way they do not wish to answer it. You either have lots of money and can hire somebody else to take care of it for you, or you're just a very simple person, or you just have a lot of peace, and that's okay too. I wish I had that too, but I don't. And so I think the biggest thing of this video is simply to take away is simply to ask yourself, how does this room make me feel? And that's where we begin in all of the homemaking skills, because these skills are worth nothing if they don't benefit you or the atmosphere around you or your family, right? And so with that, I'm going to sign off here, keep this video simple, and just encourage you. That's the first thing you can do before watching the next 3 weeks of these videos, is ask yourself, how does this room make you feel? And now that I've said that probably 20 times, I should keep track. Hopefully it's registering. All right, friends, I will see you next week when we talk more specifically about different homemaking routines and skills that we do here in the Michael household, in hopes to encourage you. Until then, I will see you next time. See you later.